Are you drowning in insecurities in your life? They are a design feature of our economy. They're not an accident. This is a little brief note from my book, The Heist: How the Rich and Corporations Stole the American Dream. So the American dream has become a crush of insecurities for the bottom 90%. All of us worry about jobs, housing, health care, food, transportation, retirement, childcare, and more. And we now need 2 jobs to support a family. That was not true back in the 70s and early 80s. We lived with endless credit card debt and a paycheck-to-paycheck lifestyle. These didn't just happen, they were engineered by the rich and corporations. So starting in the 1970s, the rich and corporations gained control of the government with support from both political parties. And they changed the laws and regulations in their favor. And this produced an enormous $79 trillion transfer of income from the bottom 90% to the top 10% between 1975 and 2023. Well, really most of it ended up in the hands of the top 1%. So there we have the $79 trillion heist. Truly an amazing number, particularly when you consider that the total economic output of the U.S. economy is roughly $29 trillion per year out of a population of 340 million people. So this broadened and intensified the insecurities for us in the bottom 90%. So why is this happening? Well, we've got 50 years of wage stagnation. The bottom 90% wage earner income grew 29% between 1979 and 2021. In the same time period, the top 1% rose 206%, and the top 0.1% grew by 465%. But just remember that the U.S. gross domestic product, so that's the output of the economy per person in 1975, was $28,214, and that grew handsomely to $69,499 50 years later. That's a 144% increase on a per person basis, nearly 2.5 times. But just to point out the obvious, the economy grew by 144%, but wage earner income somehow magically only grew by 29%. No, it's not magic. It was designed that way. And there was a tsunami of wealth inequality over the past 50 years. In 1980, the bottom 50% of the population owned 2% of wealth. In 2024, that had grown to 3%, about 3.6 trillion. Meanwhile, in 1980, the top 1% owned 22%, and that grew to 33% in 2024, $59.9 trillion. And obviously, the bottom 50% own a trivial share compared to the top 1%. So there's a lot more about this and other topics about how the economy runs in my book, The Heist: How the Rich and Corporations Stole the American Dream. And it's available now on Amazon, bookshop.org, and Ingram Spark. The ebook version is only available on Amazon. And also go to theheist.us for more info about the book. So thanks a lot.